Welcome to this week's edition of the OCU Athletics Update. I'm Andrew Himes, and this week we're talking to Superstar Athletes of the Week, Derek Howell and Patrick Goelz, and Spirit Squad's coach, Brandy Corcoran.
Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to Superstar Athlete of the Week, Derek Howell, pitcher from Krum, Texas. Last week, he became the first OCU pitcher in 6 years to throw a no-hitter. He did so against St. Gregory's. And take us through that game against St. Greg's. Do you feel like you had your best stuff on the mound that day?
Honestly, I feel like I didn't really have my best stuff, but I just continued to throw strikes. And our defense, I'm willing to say our defense is probably the best defense in the nation. And, I mean, as you see, like, I only struck out 5 people, and all the rest of the balls were put in play, and they just make plays, and they continue to do that for me all year.
Tell me about your nickname, Rock.
Rock. I got that nickname at Seminole State from Coach Allen, and, I mean, he just called me Rock because I guess I showed up day in and day out ready to work. So.
You mentioned playing for Seminole State, 2 tradition-rich programs now that you've had the opportunity to pitch for with OCU and then Seminole State. What has that experience been like for you?
Awesome. 2 winning traditions. They set the standard for winning, and losing isn't acceptable, and those are the types of places that I like to be in.
I understand that your favorite ballpark is Fenway Park. Why is that?
Fenway. I've always grown up a Boston fan, and Fenway has a ton of tradition as it is, and I would just love to go and experience that atmosphere.
What's your major here at OCU?
It's exercise science.
And what are your career goals after college is over?
After getting my bachelor's degree in exercise science, I plan on going to physical therapy school.
Very good. Very good. Can you share something about yourself people may not necessarily know?
I mean, I'm from a small town, Krum, as mentioned earlier. I graduated with 89 kids, and I've just played baseball my entire life, really, honestly.
All right. We've been talking to Superstar Athlete of the Week, Derek Howell. Hey, you can keep up with the baseball team on OCUsports.com.
I'm here with Patrick Goelz, a senior from Palm Bay, Florida. He's 3-1 with a pair of saves and 38 strikeouts so far this season. The Stars are ranked number 2 in NAIA baseball and are 8-2 in sack play. So Patrick, you've been the Stars closer for a season and a half now. What's it like coming into a save situation?
There's a lot of pressure. You just got to know the game's on the line, and your team trusts you to get the last out.
Well, you've started 3 games this season. Do you prefer coming out of the bullpen or being a starter?
Whatever the team needs, that's what I prepare for.
What's the difference in preparing to start a game as opposed to entering as a reliever?
When you start a game, you got to sit there all day and wait around. But when you're a reliever, you can just go to the field and treat it like a normal day.
What's your go-to pitch and why?
Probably a fastball, because I can throw it in any count, first strike, and get a ground ball.
How fast do you throw it?
It ranges from 88 to 90.
The team is 30-7 so far. What do you expect the rest of the season?
We haven't played that good of baseball yet, and we've won 30 games, so I'm waiting to see when we start actually hitting the ball and coming together as a team how good this season will be.
What is your major and what are your career goals after baseball?
Criminology and sociology. And the plan is to graduate, and then I don't really know from there.
Any chance you might get drafted?
There's been talk, but I'm more worried about the season so far.
Can you tell us something about yourself that people don't necessarily know?
I'm a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Well, thank you for that, and join us next time for Superstar of the Week.
There's a call to be answered. The spirit of competition is still alive inside. The desire still drives. The phrase student athlete has a great ring to it. Lasting friendships are ready to be made. You just want to keep playing. Game on. Learn more at NAIA.org.
Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we're talking to Spirit Squad's coach, Brandy Corcoran. The Stars are preparing for the NDA NAIA College Nationals coming up on April 10th through the 14th in Daytona Beach, Florida. And Coach, tell us about the event. How many championships are at stake here?
Total, there are 2 NAIs and 3 Division IIs along with Starskis, and Starskis is all the divisions. So he'll compete against Division 1A schools. So there are not quite enough teams to make all the NAIA divisions yet. So we have 2 teams competing in NAIA, and then we'll have an additional 2 more that are competing in Division 2. Then we have Stunt the Sport that's also Division 2 because we had to play up in it. And then we have Starsky. So we've got a total of 6.
And what is the makeup of this year's squads who are vying for championships? Young,
very young. I graduated 24 last year, all here from the Oklahoma City University, and it was a good big turnover year for us. We did not know what to expect, but we are pushing through and things are great. We've had 2 showings this week and they have been wonderful. The kids are all starting to step up. They're learning what it feels like to be in a pressure situation. They're learning how to work together as a team. I mean, every year you usually have some turnover, but with such a large turnover, 12 of them being on large co-ed, it was huge trying to get all new people to mesh. But we're moving, and we're at the right place at the right time and ready for next week.
You talked about some of your showings that you've had. What's the importance of being able to display your routines in front of audiences as you've been able to do?
Very important. We had our home conference tournament for the NAIA on February 2nd, and it was humbling, needless to say. We had a lot of factors that went into it, which that's not a lot of fault of the kids, but the way they reacted to being in front of people was a concern because I didn't know how much of it was what had happened backstage with injuries and everything else, and what of it was actual nerves, and what of it was actual pieces that these kids needed to make mental adjustments in order to get in front of a crowd. They have proved it was completely just their first go and they didn't know what to do, and in all aspects, on all the teams. Palm was very good in February, but they've even gotten better now, and they've added in hip-hop, and they're ready to go. All girl was mediocre and has stepped up to the challenge, and large co-ed has made leaps and bounds since February. So it's just a different game, you know, and having these showings with OSU and UCO and St. Gregory's, and now we've got a couple of Kansas teams coming up Friday. It's good to get them around people that they push them. You know, you see other people doing the same stuff and you're like, well, I can do that better. And it's great to have somebody from outside OCU come in and it's not in their same workouts every day before they get down there. Because by the time you get down there, you're kind of starstruck with all the teams that are there. There's an additional 57 teams this year to Nationals. Nationals has grown tremendously. And a lot of that's in the NAIA division, which we're very proud of. So.
Your stunt team is ranked #1 in the Division II poll. Tell us about your season there.
On paper, we don't look so good. We're 1-3, with our win being to UCO, which was great. They were the defending national champions from last year. The difference is in our area, there's not a lot of Division II, Division NAIA, even Division I teams that are on here. Most of the teams close to us are Division 1A, so we have to compete up, which is fine. It gets them mentally prepared and focused and gets us some runs, but it doesn't give us a good look on paper. So we are only 1-3, but being 1-3 and how closely we played OSU and everything else has given us a spot in the national championship finals. We will be going against UCO again, and hopefully we won't come up runner-up this year. Hopefully we'll go ahead and bring it home. So.
You've led your teams to several championships, large co-ed, all-girl, and large dance as well over the last couple of years. What goes into a championship team?
I think every single team is different, and the makeup is different, and the way I coach is different. Last year we had so many veterans, I could, you know, go through and lay it out there, and they would do it, and it was done, and then I just had to maneuver and switch and change people. This year I've had to go in and retrain and reteach, which every year that changes, that makeup and just the structure of the teams. We have switched some people back and forth from different teams multiple times, which is not unheard of, but you know, it's been a challenge for us. And I think the makeups that we've got now are good, and I think that they'll prove that in a week. So.
What's the significance of the NAIA now sponsoring cheerleading as an emerging sport?
Here at OCU, they treat cheer and pom like it is a sport anyway. On most campuses, they're held in the activity center or they're held by student-sponsored organizations, and that's rough. You know, I've coached now NAIA Division II and Division 1A, and it's different at every single university. But the importance of the NAIA embracing it is that everybody in our conference and everybody that, you know, we're supposed to be competing against those will start producing teams, and it'll start getting people out there. That'll keep us from having to compete against your OSUs and Division 1A teams. It also gives these athletes a sense of a home. You know, they're not getting bounced around from every department everywhere else and whoever wants them. It'll also allow for these athletes to be coached by actual coaches and not, you know, whoever they can find at the school to sponsor the event, to show up for games. So the importance is big. The push that Jim Abbott has done has been phenomenal, both in not only in NAIA cheer, but also as in stunt and embracing stunt within the NAIA as well. Last year, there were 18 teams that competed in the NAIA finals. This year, there are 51 teams that are competing in the NAIA finals. And that's, I'm sorry, I apologize, it is 31 teams. There were 51 that competed at conference tournaments and 31 qualified in. So that's a big jump from 18 to 31 in the national finals. The divisions are growing. The schools that are participating are growing. There's been an additional, I want to say 32 that have signed up for next year to compete. So it's just getting stronger and stronger. Jim has been an advocate for it, not only for OCU, but in the NAIA as well as stunt. He just received the award and is going to be honored this next weekend at Nationals for Athletic Director of the Year in stunt. And I think that just shows how committed OCU is to making sure that we push through this. So,
what influences have shaped your coaching philosophy?
Oh, I think there's been a lot of people along the way. I mean, you can go all the way from my parents and when I was coached young, all the way up through when I was getting coached in college, and all the way up through people that I admired as I was coaching. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I wouldn't say there's one person that's molded or shaped it more than anything else, but I think I learn as much from the athletes as they learn from me. I learn daily how to mentally get to somebody and how to help them push through a problem. And that's big, because if I can't change with them, then how can I expect them to make the team that we need to be competitive? So.
All right, we're talking to OCU Spirit Squad's coach Brandy Corcoran. The Stars taking off for Daytona Beach, Florida, April 10th through the 14th for the NDA NAIA College Nationals. You can keep up with their progress on OCUsports.com. That's it for this week's edition of the OCU Athletics Update. Check back every week for all the latest in OCU sports.